Hey kids, how you doing? Look what we've got today. Ooh, it's every student's dream. This is a calcium carbide cannon. And it works by putting some calcium carbide inside here. And calcium carbide, when it reacts with water, produces acetylene gas. That acetylene gas can then react with the oxygen inside the cannon and be ignited. We need a source of ignition, so we have a flint, an old-style flint, and you push down, and it causes a spark. So in theory, this should ignite it. So we're going to put this in here. Well, first, let me put the water in, because we need that. That's one of the reactants. So we're going to fill this up with some water. And now, this is the thing that injects the calcium carbide, so I need to screw this in. There's a little plunger that injects the right amount of calcium carbide. And by the way, this cannon is probably older than everybody in this classroom except me. This has been around for many, many years, maybe 20, 30 years. And there we go. That works. We've got some water. Let me put the sparking device in, the flint, and get that tight. We're good to go. That's ready. Now I'm going to take some calcium carbide. This used to be used in miner's lamps. It's this very small powder. I'll put a little bit on the desktop, so maybe you can focus in on that. I don't know if you can, but it's right here. It's a sort of a silver or grayish colored material. So I'm going to put some in here and seal it up. Now, it is sensitive to water, so we have this in this little steel aluminum container, I believe it is. And it'll keep for years in that if it's airtight. Now, I'm going to ask you to cup your ears. Don't stick your fingers in your ears, because if you stick your fingers in your ears and there's a loud noise, your fingers will go right into your brains and they'll shoot out your nose. And that's, that just messes up the classroom. We've got to call the custodial staff, and we don't have time for that. So cup them like this. This is the best bet, because sometimes this can be loud. I'm going to put my ear protectors on just in case. I'm going to inject the calcium carbide. We're going to wait for a minute for it to react, and probably not even a minute. And then we're going to hit this. So 1, 2, 3. That was nice. Did you see a flash? Was there a flash coming out? I was paying attention to this part. Let's try that again. There's plenty of the reactant in there. There's plenty of calcium carbide in here. I'll put a second slug in. Okay, I've got this ready. Here we go. Darn thing's, broken. All right, that was nice. We got kind of a bigger yellowish flash. Did you see that? That yellow flash? That's going to be important in a moment. Let's try that again. So we've got plenty of fuel in there. We inject that puppy. Yep, good to go. Bring up the sparking device. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time. It doesn't work anymore. I've broken it. Actually, it still works fine. Did you notice that as the explosions got successively softer and softer, and there's more of a yellow flame? What's happening is, and this is what I try to get my students to say, why doesn't it work? We've still got the fuel, but we have no more oxygen inside here. We've used up all of one of the reactants, so we're not going to get the combustion of acetylene with the oxygen gas to get carbon dioxide. Okay, and some water. We've used it all up. In theory, if I let this air out, let me get this up. Fill it up with my bad breath, put this back in, it may work. Can't guarantee. We may have put so much reactant in there that there's not enough water left, but let me get that on tight. You don't want this on loose so this thing explodes out. That's a bad thing when you're standing over it. So let's give it a shot and see if it works now. Crank some in. No. So we'd have to let this air out for a while in order to get enough oxygen in there to have some complete combustion in this thing. A couple of more safety tips. It's really tempting because one year I found a Super Ball and I go, oh, look, it fits right in. Don't ever do that in your classroom. That's a bad thing, because then you learn a little bit about kinetic energy as the ball goes sailing around the room and bouncing off the walls and students. Yeah, that's a bad thing. All right, so yeah, don't ever think of thinking anything down this barrel, because it will go flying out at a very nice rate of velocity. I think I've hit everything I need to hit.